What is up, guys? What is up, guys? Welcome to episode number 134 of Beef's Beef.
Back again.
Back again, dude. It has been a long time since we have recorded together. I recorded one episode without you. Wasn't the same. But
My hiatus is over.
yes, as MJ said when he came back, I'm back.
I
That's
didn't
it.
play baseball. I played basketball. I didn't play much baseball though.
Yeah, BJ has been playing basketball, but
Allegedly.
Also, by the way, the reason we're recording on here is because this is going to be our first episode that's also going to simultaneously play on YouTube. So, guys, we told you we'd bring it to you. Now we're doing it.
I thought you said it was because you were on house arrest and you couldn't do it in the usual spot.
Allegedly.
Right.
Allegedly.
That works. Yeah.
So, guys, as always, our podcast is brought to you by Crystal Lackey at Stockton Mortgage. Hit her up if you have any refinancing needs, if you have any home loan needs, anything. Phone number 502-615-0743. Again, Crystal Lackey at Stockton Mortgage, 502-615-0743. MLS number 8259, MLS number 1735979.
Shout out to Crystal. Special thanks for sponsoring the podcast.
Absolutely.
Hopefully you guys are using her services because I hear the market is pretty good right now and people are buying very quickly. So you got to reach out to her before you miss out on a special opportunity.
Also, let me know, the guys or the people that are watching on YouTube, what you think of my Turtle Beaches that I'm rocking with the as the headset for the official headset of the Beast Beef podcast, Turtle Beaches.
Yeah. Shout out to Turtle Beach. Please sponsor us.
Yeah, sponsor the podcast. But
I need some headphones, dude.
Heck yeah.
Man,
heck yeah, yours is like your cord is like this long. Mine, I'm having to like move it out of the way. It's insane over here.
I don't know if that was a personal shot about cord size, but I felt very disrespected there, bro.
I apologize. I'm sorry.
Why are you dinging back there?
Oh, great. That's awesome. I love that it's doing that. So, guys, I'm sorry to tell you that we're not going to have as much for you all today, but guess what? We're still going to give you everything we got because BJ has got a job now, so he thinks he's too big for everything.
That's right. Well, I don't know about thinking I'm too big for everything, but unfortunately, I do have a job. It does have to pay my bills.
Now, I love that you said unfortunately.
Yeah, I know. Kind of sucks. I mean, adulting really, it's brutal these days. You know, it's really tough. I forgot to tell you about this, but I got a special gift from listeners. I don't know if you've ever gotten any gifts from listeners, but today I got buck naked, bro.
What is the underwear?
Duluth. You know what I'm saying?
Dude. I was like, I don't really know if that's really something we really want to talk about on here. But
I felt like it was necessary. Shout out to the listeners for allowing me to get buck naked. I'm just going to tell you straight up. Assessment, no, dude. I think I'll stick to the usual. I don't feel like I think it's probably overrated. They're like $20-something.
Yeah.
Now, Duluth, if you want to sponsor us, we don't want your undies. We just want the cash.
Is that $20-something one pair?
One pair.
I mean, I'm not going to say I don't want their underwear. I'm not going to say that because I've not tried them on.
Right.
And I'm a bigger fella, so I can't really speak on what you're feeling. I'm not saying I'm talking about just husky guy. I'm not saying
cord size again, dude. Listen, you're gonna keep disrespecting me, bro.
But today we're going to bring you. We got if those of you that have been watching the Last Stand stuff, I brought up a pyramid thing that I told you all that I'd be talking about on the podcast. We have a special bracket. We're coming back, so we got to come back with a vengeance.
And also, in a big way, the biggest bracket we've ever done as far as total contestants. And I'm thinking we don't know this for sure yet. Thinking this will be the most engagement we'll get on any type of vote. Might be a little bit of bad blood involved with this one.
This is absolutely going to start arguments. This may ruin households.
Oh, big time.
But as long as they stay subscribed and as long as they listen, then that's all I really care about.
And no bloodshed. I don't want to see any bloodshed over this.
Stay 6 feet apart. Social
Please.
distancing while you're
Right.
arguing. But we also want to talk about the elephant in the room. While we're not sitting together, while there's no sports on TV, while we haven't been here for the past couple of weeks to a month, COVID-19. We're not going to go into the scientific parts of it. We're not going to go into doing this and doing that. What we're going to talk about is the effect it's had on us because there's no sports on TV. This past Saturday was the first time a live sporting event had been on TV outside of cornhole, which I don't know if you watch cornhole. Cornhole is pretty cool to watch.
I did watch it, bro.
It was actually pretty fun. I can't lie. I was sitting here watching it the other day.
It was
But
kind of weird when they were going to shake hands at the end too, because they're like, "Go shake the," and they're like looking at each other, like going up, and they're like, "No, we can't do it." And then one of them just broke the fourth wall and was like, "Yeah, I'm shaking hands." I'm like, dude, rebel! What a rebel in there playing cornhole with
yeah,
his plastic face mask covering his
I
face.
saw that the
shaking
guy with
hands
yeah,
after it.
I saw that guy. And then you also but you had UFC fights this weekend, which I know you were pretty pumped about. Um, some good fights. I did see one of them got canceled due to one of the fighters getting COVID-19. Uh, but I mean, we see things like the NFL schedule was just released the other day. Um, I actually bought tickets to see Lamar in Indy, but it
Already,
came with a warning, and it said if for some reason the NFL says that they won't be having the games, then we'll refund you your money. So it just sucks because that's all out there. We missed the NCAA tournament. The NBA
yeah,
is on a hiatus right now. I did hear something today while watching Get Up that they had a video call conference similar to what we're doing currently um, with Adam Silver, and Adam Silver said he's thinking 2 to 4 weeks before he decides uh, when everything's coming back.
right. Yeah, I've
So
heard June timetable as well from multiple different sources, and most of the sources who are putting stuff out are as close as you can be. The reality is like you mentioned, there I don't think there's been a decision made. So as far as leaking information, I think Adam Silver is a great individual to be in control in a situation like this because he handles things with respect to financial paralysis, but he also handles things in respect to what the fans want and what will keep his players safe as well too.
yeah,
So I'm excited to have them back, but I think there's going to have to be some additional precautions taken place. Obviously, they've already pretty much said that no fans will be there, and 40% of their revenue comes from fans being there. So they're going to have to make some adjustments, and I'm just hoping to get to see some of it. I'm hoping they continue on with the season. I also saw something interesting today where they're debating whoever, let's say they go back in and they start some form of a playoff series, right? I've heard a lot of different things thrown around as speculation. Will there be an asterisk
I was
next
I was
to
going to ask you
whoever
that.
is this year's champion?
I saw Shaq quoted on saying that in USA Today, in an interview with USA Today, I think it was, or Yahoo,
Yeah,
one of the two. I don't think so. And I mean, I think you go back to was it 98, 99 season when the Spurs beat the Knicks? There's not an asterisk next to that. And they only played 50 games and then won a title. So I mean,
yeah,
as long as they
lockout,
go,
right?
yeah, as long as they go through the entire playoffs, I don't really think there should be an asterisk. Now, we don't know when this is going to start back up. If it starts,
Right.
so if it starts back up in 2 to 4 weeks, he says, all right, in 2 to 4 more weeks, we're going to start the season back again. That's 8 weeks, or let's just say 6 weeks from now. We're May 13th. That's putting us July, mid July to start the playoffs. Then the
Right.
playoffs go another month and a half. You're looking into September, so they're only going to get not even a month off. They're not even going to get time off if that happens.
I guess it depends on what they do for the playoff system. And also, I mean, everything I've heard is kind of that they'll go straight into the playoffs.
Yeah.
So in my personal opinion, there 100% is an asterisk next to it. Now, I don't think it's the asterisk in which has been kind of tossed around where it's a caveat like, oh, they won, but I think it's a circumstantial asterisk. I think, the way that they got to the playoffs is different than ever before. How many times do you see a team go into the playoffs fully rested and healthy?
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
So
That's
these
true.
elite teams are facing teams who are wanting to cut their head off every night and night in, and then now they get a little bit of a break. So in my opinion, the way I see it is I think the teams that have the best talent, maybe not the deepest roster, this favors them a little bit, which is I'm good with it either way. I don't think the asterisk, like I said, I don't think I should be there as far as you won, but I think it's just the nature of the beast. Things have changed, and in my opinion, to have a champion with an asterisk next to it this year is the best case scenario. So I love that idea, and I'm hoping there will be a champion with an asterisk around it. But I did want to say too, I felt like the last episode that I did with you, we didn't have any clue the full compass of what this was going to turn into.
Yeah.
I mean, there was a lot of speculation, and I felt like part of our job is to make people laugh and have fun with us. And I think with something this serious, I know personally, I had a couple of friends who lost people to um, this pandemic, and that's when it kind of sunk in and hit home for me. It was like, man, it really touched people that I knew personally and affected their lives. So I definitely want to put our thoughts, prayers, um, everything that we can behind those individuals and say it is a very serious situation, but hopefully we continue to have a little fun and give people a way to get away from some of the monotony of what day-to-day life has been recently.
For sure. So, I mean, we can go on and on and on about this, but we want to get to some stuff that actually is going to bring some discussion, bring some stuff to each other here where,
Well,
we may disagree with what one of us does, but hey, guess what? That's why we're doing it. So I mentioned on one of the Last Dance episodes that I was going to be bringing this bracket, and I'm going to pop it up on the screen here in a minute so that when we start discussing it, you guys will know what we're talking about. Um, but basically, what we're going to do, our buddy John, uh, shout out John. He always listens to the podcast, always gives us some shouts out as well, and gives us pointers on what he thinks we should do better. John gave us an idea to take this bracket, and basically you make 5 moves apiece, okay, on where you think a person should be moved, the person should be added, or whatever. So my thing was almost all of my moves were trades. So I told BJ this: a trade is 1 move instead of making that 2 moves. So if you trade somebody, it's just 1 move. So
right.
each of us get 5, and neither one of us know what the other one has written down. So if one of us takes one of them that the other one does, we'll just stop it and say, hey, I agree with that one. That's one of my 5 moves as well. That fair?
Yep.
All
Sounds
right,
good to me.
let's get it pulled up here. So here is the GOAT pyramid. So, like I said, each of us will get 5 moves. I'll let BJ go first since he's been out of the game for longer with recording.
Yep. Well, first thing I want to do is let's make sure everybody can see. I know I can speak for myself. Personally, I had a question on who one individual was on here.
Okay.
So let's run
This
through
one
the
here.
tiers. Yep. So
Okay.
we confirmed with Sir John. Appreciate John doing what he does and having some fun with us. The center gentleman in tier 5 is Elvin Hayes,
Yeah.
and great statistical career. I looked at his stats the other day and had a couple of years where he was 20-12 guy. Um, very good player, but as far as to the naked eye, I didn't recognize him personally. A lot of the other individuals you should recognize, obviously tier 1, tier 2, tier 3, you should be good to go.
Yeah. The only
Tier
ones that people may not recognize, this one here, John
Yep.
Havlicek. This one here, you should recognize it's the logo, Jerry West.
Yep.
Moses Malone right here.
I would say even Oscar, just because it's an older
Yep.
picture. You know, I don't know if the modern day kids would recognize him by his face more
Yeah.
so than hearing the name. A lot of people know the Big O, but I don't know if they can put a face to the name.
Yeah, that sounds where I'm
Everybody else
saying.
should. Yeah, everybody else should be pretty recognizable.
Yeah. All right, so I'll let you go first with your first move.
First move, I kept it simple. And even though we talked about this, and I love this guy, he's a Tar Heel for life. I think if you're going to go on a tiered system, to me, it has to be narrower to the top, meaning there's only a couple elite few, and down at their bottom, there should be a substantial amount of people. But I personally can't put Vince on this list. I love Vince. Glad that he had the career that he did. Sad to see him go out in the way he did. But
Yeah.
I'm going to remove Vince Carter from that list. And I think there's a lot of people that we could potentially add to this list. But something that I wanted to key my thought process off of is two-way players. And in watching The Last Dance, as many people have been recently, I think you get to see that the two best players on that team were the two best players in the league potentially as being two-way player. So I'm going to add Kawhi Leonard,
Solid.
the national champion, Kawhi Leonard.
Nice. I was gonna, since you removed Vince Carter and added Kawhi, I'm just gonna go ahead and add my guy that I was gonna remove Vince Carter with,
Please.
because I can't believe that he's not on here anywhere. It blows my mind that he's not even mentioned. Uh, because when you talk about 80s basketball, this is a guy that comes up all the time. And the fact that Dominique Wilkins is not on this list kind of blows my mind. So
Yeah,
I'm going to add him. I'm just going to add him to tier 5. They just
I like
because,
it.
I mean, if you look at it, I mean, it gives them one more tier than tier 4, or one more person than tier 4. So um, right now we have Vince Carter gone, and we added Dominique Wilkins and Kawhi Leonard. So we'll go ahead and go to your next move, or unless you want me to do 2 in a row.
I'm good with however you want to do it.
All right, I'm gonna go again, and I'm going to um, move a guy that a lot of people around here love. Even though a lot of people our age, actually everyone our age, didn't see him play live. But I feel like you can't have one up there without having the other. So I'm going to move Bird up to tier 2. I'm not going to trade him for anybody. I'm just going to move him up to tier 2.
I like it. I think I mentioned this to you the other day. The waters can get murky if we move all the players that we think are deserving on that platform. I think the tough thing with this too is we're grading players based off what we think they contributed to the game,
Yeah,
and when realistically some of it was circumstantial. And Bird was a guy who could have played on any team in the NBA, so that's why I think that pick is a fitting pick.
hmm
I'm going to counter your move, and
okay,
to keep things balanced, I'm actually going to take Elijah one down a tier. So
okay.
essentially, I'm going to switch. Um, well,
Olajuwon for Bird.
I'll go with those two players. I do have an additional move in the future in that category, but I think I'll just go ahead and knock Elijah one down. Great player. I just think Bird might be the person I replace him with.
I got you. Go ahead and go again then.
I'll go with my next one. I think Big O. I mean, as far as statistical guys, averaging triple doubles for a year.
Most triple
Uh,
doubles in a career. 182, I
it,
think it was.
it's insane when you look at it. And to see Westbrook being compared to him, such a great player like Westbrook, who isn't even on this list, and he's in the same conversation as Big O, that just shows you what he meant to the game. I think there's a lot of great players. I'm only moving him up to tier 3, even though realistically, I think he very well could be in tier 2. But once again, it's like I said, I think this is a pyramid for a reason. So if I went into depth, there would be a couple of counter moves where I would move people around. I'm going to move him up to tier 3, and I'm going to knock Dirk down one step. I
Yeah,
like what Dirk
I had that
does.
exact move. Great minds. I had that
Yep.
exact move. Love Dirk.
I love
Love
what
Dirk's
Dirk
game,
does.
but yeah, the fact that Oscar Robinson's down on tier 4 and he's on tier 3. And I think you just said that we both love Dirk's game. There's nothing against Dirk. There's just no way, in my opinion, he should be above him.
Yep. Dude's got a shot. I mean, when you have a shot that they know as the Dirk, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
How many people have replicated that shot? An unguardable shot. I mean, you've got a couple of other people on this list who have a shot, essentially, maybe not named after them, but they're known for creating or inventing. Not many people in the world have done that.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and do. I'm gonna do one that I know everybody's waiting for me to do because they know how much I dislike this guy. But I'm gonna be 100% honest with you. This isn't anything to do with a bias or anything like that. I'm switching Steph Curry with Allen Iverson. So I'm moving Steph Curry from tier 4 down to tier 5 and putting Iverson up to tier 4. If I'm picking, there's just no way to me that I would put Steph Curry ahead of Allen Iverson as an all-time player. Steph is the best shooter of all time, but I feel like if you put Steph on that Sixers team by himself back in the day, they're not making the finals. Iverson was just next level, in my opinion, and I don't know. That's as far as I can go as far as talking on it. But I'm switching Steph and Allen Iverson.
I love Iverson. I mean, Iverson's my favorite player of all time. He was the guy who, after Jordan, took the reins for me as far as fandom. You know, when Jordan retired, I was nine-ish years old,
Yeah,
and so you don't understand the NBA on the level of what we understand it on today. You're watching it for the love of the game, and to see the way that Iverson played the game, that's what bought me into it. I didn't care about off court what was going on. I mean, he was a fashion icon.
so I
He
was about to say,
created.
outside of Michael Jordan, I feel like you would have to put Allen Iverson second as far as someone that changed the fashion of the game. As
Oh
far
yeah,
as I mean, baggy jerseys, baggy shorts, just all that stuff, man.
I think he took what Jordan did and moved it to the next level. And I think without Jordan, it would have been a much bigger fight than what it was, obviously. But then without Iverson, what players are doing today, not even necessarily with baggy this or that, just as far as when these players walk in, they know that there's a spotlight and a camera on them,
Yeah,
and they've got a platform to dress the way they want to dress, and sometimes that gets a little extreme for my liking personally, but it's cool to see that they have the opportunity to express themselves more than just on the court now. And to be honest, a lot of these guys are making a substantial amount of money from doing so. So to
yeah,
me, that's even better. I mean, some of these guys are making more money through. I saw that stat about LeBron making 5 times as much money off the court as he is on the court, which
that's
is obviously
insane.
based. It's crazy. I mean, he makes a ton of money on the court. And obviously, it's based off of what he has done in his career on the court. You know, Jordan kind of said that those other things come through him being a player and being elite at his craft. But with that being said, it's amazing to see. I'm glad these guys have the opportunity to feed their families in that way as well, too.
Yeah,
But that moves me into my pick. So this one is kind of a surprising one because I think we touched on some of this the other night and kind of felt out where we were going to go with it. But I thought about more after we discussed these things, and I think having Shaq in tier 2 is just a little too high for me. I think Shaq is the most dominant player of all time. I think if you look up the definition of dominance, he imposed his will where he wanted to. I know the argument is there with hitting free throws. I think if you look, a lot of big games he did knock down enough free throws to keep himself in that game. With that being said, the longevity of the career, um, I don't know if I can surpass Shaq over Kareem. So I'm going to bump Kareem up to tier 2 and bump Shaq down to tier 3.
well, I guess you leave me to be the bad guy, huh? because there's a move that I have to make, and people are going to hate me for it. But in my opinion, I got to make it. And um, I'm going to go ahead and say this. I'm going to let you all know this, that I'd say this 4 months, 5 months ago. I'd say this today. I'll say this forever.
Oh,
So I'm just telling you all, like, this isn't something that just happened. Uh, I'm bringing you guys what I feel, and an unbiased thing, and not because someone passed away. I'm swapping Kobe and Dr. J. I'm moving Dr. J to tier 2. I posted my top 5 list of all time earlier on Facebook. I don't know who saw it. Dr. J's in my top 5. In order for him to be in my top 5, thus he has to be in tier 2. You've
I
already
agree.
moved. You've already moved Akeem down. You just traded Shaq, which I don't think Kobe's better than Shaq anyway. So I'm trading Shaq, or I'm trading Kobe with Dr. J. So I'm gonna be sitting working here tomorrow, and my phone is going to blow up from Tony.
Well, this is what I'm going to make it a little bit better for you because first and foremost, I'm going to agree with you because I love Kobe. I love what he brought for the game. Tough to say there was too many people who had a better mentality than what Kobe had about the game. I think he got a lot of that from Mike, obviously. But
Mm-hmm.
also, if you look in my background, I don't know if you can see it now on the screen, but later you'll see it.
Yeah,
My shoe room is dedicated to Kobe tonight. So each night that we do this in the future, I might put a couple of pairs out just to feature those pairs. But tonight was solely dedicated to a couple of pairs of Kobe's that I have back there. So at least
nice.
that'll ease the pain a little bit for him. He'll have a little bit of eye candy in the background
You
there.
got any? You got any moves left?
I got a couple of others that I think we can make, but I think we hit the gist of the important ones. The other thing I wanted to say is to me, it's extremely tough with modern players. I mean, the move of Kawhi on there, the move of Curry that you had, KD being where he is, tough for me to say where those players might end up, as well as other players who, I don't think I can necessarily
Well, I'll
move
tell you
a
what. You
ton
you
of
took
guys.
you took one of mine, so I'm gonna do
Yeah,
another one because this
go
is
for
one
it.
that I wrote down and scribbled it up because I had 5. I'm gonna switch Zeke with KD. I'm gonna move Zeke to tier 3, and I'm gonna move KD to tier 4 because just like you were just saying,
Yeah,
I don't think KD is deserving to be on tier 3 yet. I think KD has the
yeah.
potential to be tier 3, maybe even tier 2 at some point in his career if he comes back from this injury healthy. But what he has done now, there's no way that he's on tier 3 and Kawhi's not even on his list.
Well, that even brings us back to our initial conversation where with the playoffs taking place, if he is going to be able to play now, that
Mm.
might also have to do with why there might be an asterisk. You know what I mean? Because before that Brooklyn Nets team is a different team. If you don't have Kyrie and KD, now you go into a playoff run with a fresh Kyrie and KD, even though they don't have chemistry with that team at all. I mean, it was evident from watching Kyrie play this year. And that team was more of a modern, young, heart players. And losing Kenny Atkinson, I
Yeah,
have no clue. Still to this day, baffles me. I mean, I remember when the Cavs fired David Blatt, and I thought that was insane. Maybe it will work out. I wouldn't be shocked if that was the case. But also, I think down at that bottom tier, the thing I was going to mention is I think there's a couple of guys. I think Harden is scratching the surface of that tier with what he's done in the last couple of years. I mean, consistently being in the voting for MVP, if not the MVP. I think Giannis has only been around, 7 years,
yeah, which is
roughly?
crazy to think.
Yep. And he's going to be a guy who very well could make that tier 5 in the next 2 years. And tough for me to put him on there right now. His game is still developing too, is the scary part. But talking about two-way guys, that's in my opinion, that's how I look at it. You can be the best at your craft at one thing, or
Yeah,
you can control the game and affect winning. I think he affects winning. But yeah, a lot of younger guys who I think have the potential to make that list in the future too.
absolutely. Who do you think is the? Would you say who would you say in your opinion is the next person to join that list if you had to guess?
I think those two names that I mentioned have to be front runners behind Kawhi. I think you have to currently favor Harden over Giannis. I think realistically, Giannis had a chance to win a championship this year, and to me, championships are very important on my list. I think
Hmm.
obviously you have some guys on there who didn't win championships. I mean, obviously one that comes to mind is Chuck. Uh,
Yeah.
we talked about him the other day. I didn't remember his career. I said his career was great in Philly and Phoenix. And I remember seeing the end of his career in Houston. And his stats were, what'd you say, 16 and 10 still at that point?
When he went to Houston, yeah, he was like
Yeah.
16 and 12 or something like that.
So to me, remembering him as not a great player, and he still was a 16 and 12 guy at that point of his career, I mean, that just kind of speaks to how good he was before, in my opinion. I don't think you have to win a championship to be on the list, is what I'm getting at. But I do think if Giannis would have won a championship this year, I'd consider him. But currently, I got to go with Harden. Harden is just an impossible matchup right now. Um, one of the most unique players I've ever seen in my career. Watching NBA, watching anything sporting related.
Yeah, Harden is a monster, and he gets a lot of flack because he doesn't play defense. But I don't know. I've always liked Harden, and I've always got flack for liking him because they say that. So, um, but yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying because you added Kawhi already. Um, I think it would have to be those two, Giannis or Harden. I would agree with you. And Harden's farther along in his career. He's actually the same age as me. Um, so he's old.
Definitely. Seasoned
Yeah.
vet.
Yes. Now here's a question for you.
Hmm.
Who of the younger generation will go? The Jason Tatum's, the John Morant's, the Zion Williamsons, the Donovan Mitchells. Who of those do you see being on that list at some point?
That's a great question. I think there's a lot of guys who have the potential to make that list. I will say out of those names that you listed, I don't know how many of them will be able to make a top three tier. Hate to put the ceiling on anybody because realistically, if you look in the past, um, some of the guys who have made that list had down years, and also as far as rookie numbers, not many of them had. I mean, there's a couple of them who did, but not many of them had better rookie numbers than what Jaw had this year. I think
Yeah.
as far as the way the game is going, style of play, matchups, um, team in general, I think I'd have to go with Tatum out of that list. Tatum is a phenomenal kid to watch. I remember watching him in high school. Love his game. Silky smooth, all three levels is what I think he has. And I think that translates to the NBA. And then obviously my tier two guy would be Jaw. And we had a short glimpse of what Zion could be. I don't think you mentioned Zion, but I think realistically,
No, yeah, I did. I said Zion, then Donovan Mitchell.
yeah. Yeah. So realistically, I think Zion's in the conversation of maybe not making that list, but being very intrigued as to what he might be in the NBA.
Nice. So when we decided we were coming back, we decided that we wanted to come back with a vengeance.
Yep.
And what that means is we wanted to come back with a bracket. What I didn't tell you, because I didn't know until today, exactly 1 year ago today, we released our GOAT cereal bracket.
Wow.
Yeah.
1 year ago today.
1 year ago today, I took a screenshot of it on my phone uh, to text it to you that we were going to start it the next day. So I had sent it to you 1 year ago today.
Right. I
So
think we need some type of banner, which every time we create a goat, special shout out to Daniel Grimes. I
yep,
know he's a big fan of goats all around the world. Um, I wonder if he likes goat cheese, by the way. Can't
goat
go
cheese is
wrong.
fire.
Can't go wrong with a little bit of goat cheese, I will say. With that being said, we need some type of banner with all of our goats on there and give the goats special recognition as they
Absolutely.
deserve.
So we are going to announce a bracket the biggest beef goat bracket we have done so far, as BJ mentioned earlier. And not only are we going to tell you what it is, we're going to do a screen share like we did before, and we're going to unveil it. So BJ, let them know, because you're the one that brought this idea to fruition. So what's our bracket going to be this time?
Well, we talked about it and we knew we wanted to bring a bracket to life. And we were trying to figure out what would be the best bracket that we could do. And we bounced around a couple of ideas and we thought about it. What are a lot of people doing right now with a little extra time on their hands? They're watching things. And
Yeah.
what is a lot of that's being watched? TV series in some form of fashion. And so in our conversations, we narrowed it down to the 64 greatest TV shows of all time. I mean, there's TV shows on our list from the 60s all the way to TV shows that are on currently. And we need you, the beeflets. I forget whatever. Beeflets. To determine what will be the ultimate GOAT of TV shows for us. So you worked really hard at creating this list. We thought we had the list done how many times? 5 or 6 times?
Yes, 5 or 6 times.
At least. That might be underselling it. I fell asleep at maybe 6:30 yesterday after I got off work because I was just burnt out from everything, and had dreams of TV shows that we were forgetting about. That's how much we've been digging into this. So let
without
us know
further
first
ado,
and foremost what you please.
actually, let's go ahead and preface this, because I have to preface this every time we do one of these. We did not set the seeds on this. We did not set the matchups on this. What we do is we put all of these TV shows in this database, and then we shuffle them, and it puts it into a bracket automatically. So the seeding means absolutely nothing. That's not what we think is the greatest TV show ever. It's not anything like that. What that is just what that thing put it in there as. So
Randomizer.
yeah, what the randomizer did. We did not make that seed. We did not make that matchup, because there's going to be people that hate some of these matchups, because I looked at some of them and I hated the matchup because I had to pick one.
Yep.
So what we're going to do is we're going to unveil the bracket for you right here, and then we're going to go through some of it and tell you what some of our favorite matchups are. So here we go. So we start at the top, Grey's Anatomy. I know that's BJ's favorite. He's really into chick flicks. Yeah,
Big
but
time.
just looking through that first, 13 matchups. One that kind of sticks out to me, that I feel like is one of my good ones is going to get voted off early. Sports Center, I think might get outvoted by Dexter.
It's an interesting matchup. I think that's 2 great shows. I think both of them are unlike anything else that we've seen. I know what my vote's going for, and if I can sway the people, I enjoy Dexter, but tough to get better than Sports Center.
Yeah, and then another one that I noticed is Parks and Rec versus Mr. Rogers.
Yeah.
What's one that you notice here in the top 13 that – no, actually, I can't believe I missed one down there. I think you're going to go straight to it.
Well, first of all, I'm going to start off with the classics. I'm not going to key on them, but I love the matchups of the I Love Lucy and In Living Color. I can't speak right now. And Sanford and Son and Cheers, because I think that's going to get a lot of people involved with it. And I think the other thing it's going to do is, if you're in the younger generation and you don't know about those 4 shows, you're going to get a history lesson today, boys.
Yeah.
So shout out to those individuals, but also in going further down, I don't want to be mean to anybody. I see a blowout in Sopranos versus Doug. Both great shows. If you made the list of 64, phenomenal shows. Blowout. That's not even a close matchup. And then going further down, I'm going to highlight my personal favorite, Eastbound and Down versus Scrubs. Scrubs has a cult following. I'm worried about that matchup, but I think we can push it through Kenny Powers.
Yeah.
And the best matchup on this entire screen is clearly not even close. Martin and Impractical Jokers. I mean,
That
two of
one's
the
gonna be
greatest TV
tough,
shows
dude.
of all time.
That's gonna
Brutal.
be so
I,
tough,
I know
dude.
what I'll be voting, but with that being said, great matchup. I mean, to have a matchup like that in the first round, it's getting intense real quick.
So let's move down. So we saw 13. So let's get that out of the screen. So we start at the top with MASH versus Boy Meets World. Old school meets somewhat newer school. I feel like our age group is going to vote off MASH. MASH, like what you were saying with Scrubs, still has like a cult following now.
Yep.
So let's see here. One that sticks out to me because I'll tell you one that I don't care about is number 22, How I Met Your Mother versus Big Bang Theory. If I could just vote both of those shows off, I would do that.
That's going to offend a lot of people.
I don't care. It really doesn't bother me if it. One that I think is going to be a good matchup, though. Matchup number 18, The Bachelor versus Breaking Bad. Because if we get our female listeners in here to start voting,
Yeah, we're in trouble.
yeah, I might get voted off, man. Because Breaking Bad is up there in my top tier of my favorite TV shows ever.
Wow. Yeah, I think it's there for a lot of people. And I think very realistically, I think we didn't mention this. There was a couple of, I would say there's probably 15 to 20 shows realistically that I expect no matter what the matchup is, they've got a chance to move on to the final matchup to be considered the greatest TV show of all time. I think Breaking Bad is in that category as you can put it up against anybody. And to me, it looks like it's going to be up against some hitters. I mean, I get it might not be a ton of people voting for it, but the price is right. I mean, price is wrong, Barbie Barker, in that scenario, because you might be in trouble going against The Bachelor or Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
But
What's a matchup for you that maybe you
I
don't
think,
like? Let's change it. Which one you don't really care about?
well, as far as don't care about, once again, I see a blowout. And to me, it's not even close. But you've got Narcos and Power Rangers. And I think Power Rangers is a classic. And I mean, gotta love the Pink Ranger. With that being said, Narcos crushes that. There's no way.
Here's what's gonna happen because
Yeah.
I've never seen Narcos. I'm guarantee you that I would like the show,
Yeah.
but I had to vote Power Rangers, so I'm giving away my vote on that one because I've never seen it.
But that's why I respect you, because you're not going to go with what the people want you to vote. You're going to
Yeah.
go with what your opinion is. And that's what I mean, I can't state that enough. This isn't what you think is the best TV show of all time. This is, in your personal opinion,
Yeah.
what is your favorite TV show of all time. And I think just like in an NCAA tournament bracket, where's kind of where we drew our inspiration from, as always on these brackets, matchups are key. And matchups will determine our GOAT, as they have in the past. So I think that's a matchup that, to me, I think is somewhat irrelevant. But there's two matchups on here that I see on this screen that are the best matchups, maybe in the tournament, but also definitely on this bracket that we're looking at. I'll start with number 23, Friends and Sons of Anarchy, two of the most iconic TV shows of all time. We just watched in The Last Dance, what was that, episode 5 or 6, where Seinfeld was actually in the locker room with Jordan and ended up getting kicked out.
I love when he went up to the board and he was like, "Hey, this isn't gonna work. You might need to change this whole thing. This is not gonna work."
Which I loved. I mean, he's hilarious. So I think realistically, Seinfeld and Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is the other one that I was going to key on. I should have said that before I mentioned Jerry Seinfeld, but Fresh Prince of Bel-Air is up there on my favorite TV show of all time list. There's only a couple of TV shows that I had
skipped over that.
collection.
Jesus, it's so tough. Oh man,
But see, that's what I was saying. Those two matchups are brutal.
Ugh. The one you mentioned though, with Friends and Sons of Anarchy, I don't like either show, so that's going to be the one that I dislike the least. Is one I'm going to vote on.
I'm a little bit surprised that you dislike Sons of Anarchy. Christmas.
I mean, maybe I should give it another chance because I only watched like the first couple episodes, so I probably can't really judge. It was just really hard to get into.
The interesting thing about those shows, it's kind of tough for me to watch them on a weekly basis where
Yeah.
it's like there's so many cliffhangers and things of that nature. I don't like doing that. I like to watch it all at once. And so I think to me, that's where the Sons of Anarchy actually took off. Was initially, as you mentioned, I wasn't really into it and it was kind of boring. And then once it got closer to the end, I started watching it a little bit more. And then there's the Mayans is the spinoff of that.
Hmm.
And this is maybe the most blasphemous thing we've said on the entire episode. But personally, once again, this is my opinion. I enjoy watching the Mayans more than I do enjoy watching Sons of Anarchy. So, and that didn't make our list, if that tells you anything about our list.
All right, so let's go ahead and scroll. You got any more here?
I think the main ones that we touched on are great. I think the another cool cult classic matchup is Saturday Night Live and Dragon Ball Z. I think that'll be a fun one to see who's voting for what.
See
And
if the
that I think that
see if
could
the
be
nerds come out and flock.
I don't know who's considered a nerd there. I mean, you got the classic Saturday Night Live that, I'm in that category. I think I could be considered a nerd for liking that. I used to have those Saturday Night Live DVDs, the Chris Farley one, the Adam Sandler one,
Oh yeah,
the Will Ferrell one. That's Will Ferrell one has to be my favorite of all time. But classics.
yeah.
Chris
So
Rock had
good.
one. Phil Hartman. I had a Phil Hartman one. I don't
R.I.P.
even remember all I had. R.I.P. But I think Dragon Ball Z is obviously, like you mentioned, that's got a huge following.
Yeah.
So that could get interesting.
So let's move up and show off 27 through 32. And I know you guys can see 27 down there at the bottom. And guess what, dude? One of my favorite shows is going to get voted off in the very first round in that matchup. And I literally want to hurt everyone. I literally want to hurt everyone because The Office is the most overrated TV show of all time. And it's facing The Wire, which I guarantee you 99% of you people have never watched. And you're going to put that trash TV show over The Wire. I'm already mad just looking at this because I'll be honest with you, man. I'm unveiling this to myself because all I did was screenshot it. I didn't look at it. I'm unveiling this to myself as well at the same time you're seeing it. And that I just realized that one of my favorite shows of all time is going to get voted off in the first round.
That's brutal. I mean, I think what you have to do is, if you're a true fan, you're going to have to put out the bat signal, bro.
Oh, I'm going to
have to. Going to have to get you're going to have to get as many people. I'm just going to tell you right now, I'm in between. So maybe you can convince me of why I should vote The Wire over The Office, because I can tell you personally, I've not seen either show a ton. I've obviously laughed at episodes of The Office and been intrigued by episodes of The Wire. But I think there's a demographic out there that you can win over, and you got a fighting chance.
Another one I see here that two of my favorite shows are going to get voted off in the first round. And it makes me sick. Because if you go down a couple
Number
more,
30.
Walking Dead is going to beat It's Always Sunny. I'm so upset right now seeing that two of my favorite shows is going to – and you look at 31. Another one of my favorite shows may get voted off. I don't know for sure that people are going to pick Sesame Street, but this thing's just making me sick. So if this tells you all anything, this is my first time seeing it too. And I'm not feeling too good about it so far.
It's getting interesting. I knew it would be. With the amount of great shows that were on this list, there was no way that the first round couldn't have some salty matchups in it. I mean, I think that's what we want to keep things interesting. But also in round two, it doesn't get any easier. I mean, this is a 64-team tournament that legitimately all 64 shows, depending on the matchup, have a chance to win. And depending on how people vote, obviously, that's the key that we're missing. We don't know where these votes are going to go. I mean, we need everybody to like and share these votes so that we can get the most votes possible, because we don't want 20 votes to determine the GOAT. I mean, how can you put a GOAT title with 20 votes on a TV show?
Absolutely.
We need everybody's opinion on this one, because if you want your show to win, you're going to have to do something to get your show to win this one. You know what I mean?
But yeah, I mean, you got any more? What you got?
I want to point out matchup 28. I think that's a great matchup. I love Entourage. Entourage was another TV show that I had every single episode and series of. And obviously it's kind of inspired by Mark Wahlberg, and he's my favorite actor. not because he's a great actor. I think I just like everything he does overall. A lot of the movies that he does, I love. I watched that. What's him and Will Ferrell? Maybe
Daddy's Home.
Daddy's Home 2 with
Yeah.
Mel Gibson in it too. Classic, man. I was it's honestly a terrible movie, but there's parts in it where you're sitting there watching it by yourself and you can't help but chuckle. You know what I mean? That's almost all Will Ferrell movies.
Yeah.
And those two play off each other so well. So Entourage, I think, is going to have a tough round against Saved by the Bell, which is a cult classic. But I know I'll be voting Entourage on that one. So we'll see how it goes.
So, guys, this is our 60-14 bracket. What do we want to do? We want to do 16 of them at a time like we normally do, or we want to do 32 of them at a time?
I think we'd be okay with doing either. I think, to me, it's all about how many we can push out. But I want to make sure that we give everybody a fair chance to get their voting.
I'll tell you what. We'll start tomorrow.
Multiple days.
We'll do 16 tomorrow, and we'll go 16 for the next 4 days. Then after we cut it down, then we'll do 16 again. So we'll do the first 2 days. Yeah, we'll do it like that. So we'll do 16 each day, and give you all 2 days to vote on each of them, and then we'll move to the next round after that.
Yeah, I think we need to consider extending the time frame a little bit as well too, just because in 2 days, by the time that you see it, by the time that it comes across your timeline, and by the time that you have a chance to spread the word and tell other people about the voting process, I think that gets a little bit quicker. So I think we need to consider 3 days or
2 or 3
possibly
days. Yeah,
more.
absolutely.
But I think it's going to be a great thing. I'm looking forward to seeing what everybody says, because I honestly have no clue where this is going to go.
Neither do I. And people are going to hate me whenever they see it, because they're like, you put my favorite show up against this. I just want to let you guys know, one of my favorite shows of all time is going to get knocked out in the first round. So I don't really want to hear it.
Potentially.
Yeah. By the way, I've been leaving group text because I don't know if it's popping up on there. So some of y'all may get to see some of my some of my texts. I don't hate my friends. I had to leave a couple of group texts because I didn't think they were going to stop texting me, and there was no way for me to text them back in time. So that's why you all see me like scrambling looking at my phone, because it's popping up on my screen and I couldn't get it to stop doing notifications. So this is a learning process for us. So the first episode on YouTube, you guys may get to see some text messages that I got. So nothing crazy, just funny stuff, or see people commenting on a photo that I posted on Facebook, and it just keeps popping up the notifications.
Classic.
Yeah. But
I look forward to that.
We can't have an episode of Beef's Beef without at least one of us having power moves in beef. I kind of sprung this on BJ pretty quick on getting us back, but so next episode I'm sure he'll, with the way BJ is, I'm sure he'll have some stuff to bring to the table as far as power moves and beef.
For sure.
But I got a power move, and it's me and you, man.
Ooh.
Me and you were texting earlier, and we were talking different stuff that we're doing, this Zoom stuff with bringing the YouTube channel, which we had been wanting to do, but kind of pushed it to the background for the longest time to make sure we were putting out good stuff. And I still think we're putting out good stuff, but it's us bringing the podcast back. We're not going to let something like COVID-19 stop us from doing what we want to do and doing what we like to do. And it's always a good time to sit here and just chill and talk. Like, I'm sitting here with the Cavs Warriors game on. You got your shoe collection. It's just it's us, dude. It's what we like to do, and we're sitting here getting to chop it up and just talk on the pod for the first time in over a month.
Yep. Yeah, I love it. I'm gonna throw a little bit of a power move in there and bounce that off of that. But I don't know if you can see the classic buttery leather that I got on. I mean, I'm just talking about, dude, I don't know if you understand this, but you want to talk about buttery. I don't know if you can see that.
Oh, my goodness. If you take off the ERY, we definitely saw the butt. I don't know about the buttery, but we saw the butt.
I could listen in my old age. I can't get down low enough to show the back of my jacket, but I'm just gonna tell you, this.
That thing is crispy, dude. That thing is crispy.
Classic right here. shout out, my grandfather got me this, and I've actually saved this, and I had never worn it. I wanted to keep it for as long as I could and just keep it as a special thing to
You
me.
look
And
like
I
a
thought,
background dancer in the Thriller video.
dude, I got a little bit of a Drake vibe going on. I
That's
got a little bit of a Thriller. I got my Armani watch on. You know what I'm saying? That's a little Drake-ish. Probably not Armani. He's probably going, Hugh Blower, something ridiculous.
yeah.
I'm just saying that's a slight power move. And then obviously I got to lean over and let Tony get a little glimpse of what
The
we got going
sneaks.
on back there. That's, like I said, that's the ones I got out there. You'll see a couple of Kobe's. You got the
Let's look at. There you go. Now you're on there by yourself, so you can see it.
classic Kobe 11 down at the bottom. You got some Kobe 9 Independence Day. You got the Kobe 10. Got the Kobe 8 Christmas, Kobe 5s. I mean, just a little bit of everything on there for you. So shout out to Kobe, RIP Kobe.
Yeah.
Had to bring, for the special episode coming back, had to feature those. Who knows what it might be next week? Might be Jordans, might be LeBrons, might be Adidas and Yeezys. I don't know. I'm going to have to look through. It might be Iversons. Yeah, have to look through and see what I got. Some RBK.
There we go. All right,
Wow.
so I got a beef as well.
Hmm.
And my beef is with some people that I have on social media. And look, I know Gronk went to the Bucks. I know Tom Brady went to the Bucks. I know this already. I don't know if you guys saw the hat. I'm still rocking with the Patriots. Stop saying I'm a Bucks fan. I'm not a Bucks fan. Look, man, we may be rebuilding. Who knows? Belichick believes in Stidham. So until Belichick steers me wrong, I'm sticking with Belichick. Belichick's done me well all these years. Some people are like, "Oh, he's a cheater." I'm like, "So somebody else." But I don't know. I'm not going to go into those things. I'm not a Bucks fan. I'm a Patriots fan. So my beef is with all you bums out there that keep sending me these Buck things. It's like a clear, or it's like a blank piece of paper, and it's like, "Oh yeah, the Bucks." I'm not cheering for the Bucks. I'm not doing it.
Right.
Not doing it.
And I can respect that. Now, also, that brought me up an insightful question. I wanted to kind of see what your opinion was. And a lot of speculation out there today that a good home for Cam Newton could potentially be New England.
Would love it.
Does that – okay. I was
Would
going to say,
love it.
does that fit make sense? And do you think it's a realistic possibility?
Realistic? I don't think so. I think if it was realistic, we would have done it already. That's my only thing. Good. Yeah, I mean, I think Cam Newton's very talented. I love Cam Newton's game. It's a different type of offense, but you think about it as what our running backs already do. It's pretty much exactly it. To me, it fits Cam perfectly because Cam is dump down or take off running. But I don't know. That was what was always weird to me, is that Tom Brady ran an offense that it seemed like if someone that could run the ball would be really, really good at.
Right. I was thinking in my head, as far as a tough matchup, think about having Jimmy come out of the backfield, or James White, and having Cam in between the tackles then as well too. Or, I mean, even on the pitch options. And then you get a couple of nice receivers mixed in there. I think Cam can throw the deep ball too. He obviously has the arm strength. I don't know if he has the accuracy on the deep level, but if he can mix that in, that's going to be – and then obviously your all's defense is stout again.
Oh, yeah.
So you hold teams to low point totals. You control possession. And how do you do that? You eat clock with a lot of possessions on the ground, or a lot of efficient possessions, those short dump downs that you mentioned. So be interesting to see. But I was very intrigued by it, because I think, and I hope he doesn't go there, obviously, under this classic. I don't know if you recognize this at all, but I got a
I'll tell you what, man, when we finish this episode, I'd appreciate if you pulled a knife out of my back. Yeah.
I'm just saying, you know, I had to come. If we were going to do it, I was going to be ready for it. And don't think for a second that I didn't have dreams of what I was going to do last night. Like, oh, okay, what am I going to have on for our first YouTube episode? Got to go with something flossy.
I dressed up a little bit. You know what I mean? You know, rocking the
Yeah,
tux with the chain.
Yeah, it looks familiar. I almost feel like that's like a beef-inspired Lamar Jackson vibe.
Oh, it might be. Yeah, it might be.
Yeah. Shout out.
But that's really all we got today, guys.
Well, I've got one more beef for you too. So my beef is actual physical beef. I don't know if you heard or were listening to the radio probably about a month ago, but all you heard was this 20 steaks for a $30 deal. You know what I'm saying? And had to check it out, bro. So what do? I go, and they say Green Tree Mall, right? So I go to the Green Tree Mall, nothing there. So I'm devastated because I was actually out by the J Mall, and I think it said Oxmoor or somewhere else too. But I was out by the J Mall. I'm like, I'm not about to go to the J Mall and get it. There's going to be a million people there. I'm going to go to, you know, the little hidden gem over here in Southern Indiana, Green Tree Mall, and they're not even there. So strike one, right? End up going another day, get off work. I think, you know, I'm listening to 107.7 and they're talking about, and they're like, we're leaving at 7 and they close at 8. I'm like, all right, I'll get there. So anyways, more of the story, they shut down while I'm in line. I'm like, okay, can't do that. If I'm in line, you got to serve me, right? End up coming back. Now, this one, those first two are on them. This last one's kind of on me. When you hear the term 20 steaks for $30, you got to kind of have a little bit of common sense to realize it's probably not going to be the greatest steak that you've ever seen. And the steaks are probably not going to be the biggest steaks that you've ever seen. Now, with that being said, I don't think you could pay enough money to see my face when I show up and the guy brings out a CD case of 20 steaks that look like hamburger patties. And I go, I just waited an hour and 30 minutes for flank steaks smaller than cheeseburgers I make. Craziest thing I've ever seen. Now, the moral of the story is, even though this is my beef and I'm sitting here complaining about it publicly to everybody in the world, the sad thing is I really enjoyed them. And today I ate my last 3. So more of the story, the beef is that I need more beef and I need those people to show back up, even though I want to complain about it. So that way I can get, you know, my steaks for $1.50. But I put 3 of those bad boys on the grill, cook those suckers up with a little bit of red onion, put some jalapenos in there, put a little bit of blue cheese crumbles on there. You know, keep it nice and simple, classy for the ladies. Got to put a little bit of salt and pepper on there, cook it in the butter. Delicioso. So that's my beef. I figured I'd throw that in there for you as well.
Well, guys, that's going to conclude today's episode. We plan on being back Wednesdays again, recording Wednesdays, releasing, you know, late Wednesday night. So be looking out for us. Share us, man. Like our YouTube page. You know, if you see us on YouTube and you haven't listened to our podcast, go back and listen to our old episodes. We have some great episodes with me and BJ and some guests, or with just me and some guests before I added BJ. Go to our Facebook, like our page there. We're on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud. We're on iHeart. I mean, we're everywhere. So look out for us. I'll be sharing the link just like I always do on Twitter and Facebook. Yeah, follow us on Twitter as well and on Instagram. So, guys, we appreciate you guys listening or watching, whichever one you want to do. Hopefully you watched, you know. Hopefully you can give us some pointers. Maybe tell my friends not to text me in the middle of an episode. That would be great.
Beautiful.
Maybe
probably next week.
Yeah.
I don't want to make any promises, but probably next week I'm not going to show my rear end on that episode as well too. So if you did watch the first one live, you know, hindsight being 2020, which is fitting in this case. You know, I had a feeling I was going to have a tough time getting low enough to show my back there, and now you know, obviously I couldn't see what was in the camera, so I'm got a sneaky suspicion that's going to be a little bit of an embarrassing moment.
We saw the dad jeans, bro. We saw them.
No, that's my boxers. I'm just boxers and straight.
You wear denim boxers, denim boxers with pockets on the back. The Daisy Dukes is
New
what he's
boot
rocking.
scooting, bro.
Yeah,
New
new
boot
boot
scooting.
But BJ, bro, it's good to see you again, man. I ain't seen you in forever outside of the Zoom we did the other day. It's good to be back, man.
No.
I'm ready to get going again. Ready to get this going with the YouTube channel. Hopefully, you guys enjoy this episode. Yeah, I mean that's really all I got, man. If you guys have any ideas for us to do a bracket in the future, or you have anything else, let us know. Most importantly, guys, thanks for listening. Thanks for sharing. Later.
Love.